then there was this, my parents, we went to a Catholic grade school, and back in the 60s, I guess it was, or 70s, they were starting to bring in the bad Catholic, or in the Catholic schools, even bad sex ed programs. So I had a twin sister, and one other kid out of 120 opted out of this sex ed program in 8th grade, okay? So you can imagine, 3 out of 120, I was the only boy that opted out, so I caught a little bit of flack. Oh, Sullivan can't take the sex ed, blah, 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 you know, but, you know, it goes with the territory. So anyway, I didn't think anything of it. When I was 30, I saw this buddy of mine who got taken out of high school because of drugs. I mean, he was an addict, and we had to go to rehab, et cetera, so he was kind of a screw-up. And I had heard that he had turned his life around. Well, he happened to be at the victory party, which wasn't a victory. My mom ran for Congress back in Illinois. She lost. But he happened to be there. Again, I hadn't seen this guy since 8th grade. So I said, how are your parents doing? And he said, they both died of broken hearts, and I was one of the main reasons. And I was like, oh, that's kind of a showstopper, you know, when somebody says this. And this guy was kind of a screw-off, you can imagine, you know. And he was one of the guys, in a good-natured way, who was making fun of me for being pulled out of the sex ed program. And I could tell about an hour later, he still had something he wanted to talk about. I said, Jim, is something bothering you? He says, yeah. Remember when your parents pulled you out of that sex ed program? I was like, yeah. He says, and I made fun of you for that? I said, yeah. He says, I got to tell you, I really admired your parents. I was like, wow. Here's a kid that was a screw-up. Was one of the guys giving me a hard time. But he admired my parents, that he would pull, that they would pull their 2 kids out of 120 kids. But they stood up for what they believed in. They didn't give up. You know, if I had gone home and said, hey, Dad, people are going to make fun of me, he would have said, that's too bad. You know, it wasn't like, oh, well, we don't want people to make fun of you. You might have to stand up for something in life. But I never forgot that. And again, 18 years later, I saw a guy who knew that he was a screw-up had changed his life, but he still, that was the kind of thing that made a difference to him. I was in the Navy, ROTC, and we used to go on summer cruise, and you'd meet kids from all other units, you know. And we had Norfolk and different things, and of course, you know, you have nothing to do at night, so 6 or 7 of us were going to go out. So this one guy says, hey, let's go find some girls and score. So I was like, can I ask you a question? He says, yeah. And I just met this guy, you know, that week. I said, do you have a sister, a younger sister? And he goes, yeah. I said, would you mind if I visited you and I went out with your sister, then the next day I told you how much I enjoyed scoring with her? And he said, I'd probably punch you out. I said, I would hope you would.